up,
And we are live. Good morning, crypto warriors, and welcome back to the Gym and the Crypto episode 1331. And today's top stories: U.S. government urges court to reject Coinbase users' crypto records fight. Bitcoin 2025, the word of the day was freedom. California moves forward to accept crypto for state payments. Robinhood completes $200 million acquisition of crypto exchange Bitstamp. JP Morgan's Jamie Dimon says U.S. should stockpile missiles, not Bitcoin, and BlackRock's Bitcoin ETF futures debut in Moscow as funds hit top 25. But first and foremost, of course, let's go ahead and take a quick look at these Bitcoin and cryptocurrency prices. Looking at none other than Cointelegraph. Let's go ahead and talk about it. Bitcoin is still actually coming in hot at $104,343, only seeing a 0.07% decline in 24-hour clock. Ethereum $2,504, down 3.45%. Number 4, XRP $2.17, down 1.06%. Number 6, Solana $150, up 0.3%. Number 8, Dogecoin at 18 cents, taking a 4.69% haircut. Tron at number 9 at 27 cents, up 2.37%. And again, Tron, all these top 10 tokens, of course, outside Bitcoin, have been one of the tokens that has this gradual increase throughout the year. Slow but gradual. So I'll give them props from that. Number 10, Cardano at 60 cents, down 1.88. And number 11, Hyperliquid was actually coming in at $35.06, up 0.83%. Fear and Greed index is at 86. Bitcoin dominance is at a 63.6. And Ethereum dominance is hanging on at a 9.3%. And those are your prices on the day. Give some quick shout outs. What's going on, Warriors? What up? What up? What up? Jump Out Girls, BK Crypto, T, Saber Save, Super Mario, Janine Hayes, Wisdom Bars, Time and Then, Memories of Mike, STL Solo, Mr. Gamble. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Not much news, not much in the way of news. This week's news cycle was pretty slow. Last week, which I actually forgot about, it came so fast, was a Bitcoin conference. So if you remember, usually a couple of days after the Bitcoin conference, everything kind of lags. I had a couple of business meetings with a couple of crypto companies this week, Monday and Tuesday, and a lot of folks were just like, you could tell they're already exhausted and stuff. Oh, and the XRP conference, I guess they had a smaller one out there. I know some companies were out there as well. So it sounds like it went pretty decent for the people who went. Some of the newbies I knew went, had videos up on IG and stuff. It looks like they had a good time as well. It was in Vegas, so you can't really go wrong in Vegas. And we'll be discussing that here in the moment. But first, of course, let's talk about Bitcoin price, which, by the way, is looking pretty good after everything that happened yesterday. For those who have normal lives and who are out of the loop, it looks like the battle has officially began.
Fight.
That's right. Donald Trump versus Elon Musk. And with that was why Doge took that haircut, of course. Dogecoin being a reflection of Doge. Some people not even know the difference. They just see the token and want to go crazy with it. But as that war heats up, one of Donald Trump's top donors, the presidential administration's top donors, private citizen, not even sure he's a full American citizen, right? He's African born boy, is here going crazy. But a lot of people are saying, hey, how is this going to affect the price? Well, a couple things. First, Bitcoin ETFs. I'm seeing that they are seeing some of their biggest withdrawals of the quarter happening right now, the last week, 24 hours or so. So we'll see how that affects the price here, probably by Monday and Tuesday of next week. So that will be something to look out for. I don't think it will affect it that much. Honestly, I'm still surprised we're at 104. I thought we would go down to 99, 98K. So the fact that we're still standing strong at 104 says a lot. I think yesterday we got as low as 103, maybe 102, some change, 103,000. So there was a little bit of a market shake, I guess you can say, a small retracement, but nothing major. So far that's looking good. But like I said, we are looking at some of these Bitcoin ETF companies as they all decide to go different ways. And this is what I meant probably a couple of weeks ago when I was like, hey, when you're looking at the different ETF companies and how they're moving money, they're doing that based off the news as well as us. So again, we'll see what happens to the markets. I do know on the traditional side, things like Tesla did a huge drop yesterday. I think it was like 14% on the traditional market, which is a lot for them. So I think a lot of people are going to wait this weekend to see how the crypto market stabilize or not. And then they're going to kind of make their moves off of that going into Monday and Tuesday. So I think Monday and Tuesday's Bitcoin prices are a lot to look at. If it's the same thing, that we're clear. If we see a nice little dip or haircut, it may be something to watch as more to come. All right, top story of the day though: U.S. government urges court to reject Coinbase user crypto record spike. That's right. Probably one of the biggest cases of the year is going on right now that will surely set precedent, not only for Coinbase but for the exchange landscape as a whole and what U.S. courts have the power to do or not to do. U.S. government argues Coinbase user James Harper has no right to block IRS access to his crypto records and Supreme Court filing. That's right. The U.S. government has urged the Supreme Court not to take up a Coinbase user's challenge against the IRS effort to obtain his crypto transaction records. Now, again, I will say this one was kind of interesting to me, especially when you see what this administration's stance has kind of been when they've been deregulating the mainstream government, federal government, and instead trying to empower the individuals who know how to move in some of these spaces like cryptocurrency, right? And the filing date it made. So, with that being said, I didn't see the U.S. government as a whole kind of pressing the Supreme Court to drop this thing. So, I wonder if it were the entire government, was this part of Trump's administration? Was this just members of the IRS itself? Because I don't see the Justice Department standing up for the IRS or the FDIC or something. That makes no sense. It's like, well, this isn't your business. Why are you over here? This is something totally different. And the filing dated May 30th, Solicitor General D. John Sarr argued that Coinbase user James Harper has no Fourth Amendment right to shield his financial records held by the exchange. The government claimed that Harper voluntarily shared his data with Coinbase and that the IRS followed proper legal procedures to obtain it through a judicially approved summons. But in reality, what's happened is Coinbase was summoned years ago by the IRS and the government in general. They were in this gray regulatory area. They were scared. Did put up a semi fight for a while as far as not giving the government records, but eventually they broke down and said, fine, here you have it. And then you get a president like we have now, and Coinbase sees all the craziness that's going on. We talked about Operation Choke Point a few years ago, and they're like, hey, we don't want to play this game anymore. But it's like, it's kind of too late. It's kind of like I've been watching Ozark. I don't see the hype around it, by the way. Pretty terrible show. I'm going to season 3. I don't think I can watch it. It's just that bad to me. It's just terrible writing. Uh, but with that being said, it's a part of them there where someone wears a wire, and then they're like, all right, I made a mistake, my bad. And they're like, you can't go back on this. You wore a wire. Like, you have us on a federal wiretap. There is no making this right or going back. You already wore the wire. So that's to me the way I look at Coinbase. Is like, they're trying to go back. They're trying to make this right and stuff. It's like, no, no, you've already skimmed off the top. You've already worn the wire. You've already told the government so much information about your own clients that made you the billions of dollars that you have now. Don't try to clean it up now, right? Harper's case centers around a 2016, that's right, 2016 IRS investigation into widespread tax underreporting on cryptocurrency gains. At the time, the IRS discovered a sharp gap between the millions of Coinbase users trading Bitcoin and the relatively few taxpayers who reported crypto gains. Yes, I saw I've gotten a tax notice not too long ago too. So they're definitely out here sending some retroactive notices. In response, the agency obtained a so-called John Doe summons, compelling Coinbase to turn over records on high volume customers. So essentially, I can't remember what the number was, but if you did anything past like what 20K on Coinbase, more than likely, I think it was like 25K. They gave your information over to Uncle Sam. All right. It looks like Harper, who traded Bitcoin and Coinbase during the relevant years, later sued, claiming that the IRS actions amounted to an unconstitutional search of his personal records. And shout out to Harper as well, because how many times have I said in this space, for all of these big companies, Coinbase included, all you needed to do to fight back, which would have sent the government on its way years ago, was to counter sue them, was to literally every time the SEC went after someone, sue them. Every time the FDIC went after someone, sue them. Every time you're unbanked, sue them. Hell, I need to go back and sue Bank of America for the way they did me. Like, we should have all just went sue crazy the way they went sue crazy and charged us with blanketed charges across the entire industry. How they criminalized the entire industry. We should have just did the same thing. For the people who decided to do it, they saw their just due. I'm looking at the Ripples of the world, and now it looks like even the Harpers of the world, because this is one of the things where hopefully it doesn't get struck down, but until it actually does get struck down by the Supreme Court, this is something that can be targeted. This is something that can be elevated. And while he may not get it right now, with the ability of having these crypto and Bitcoin super PACs and funding and all this other stuff, the political, I can't even say the word, the politicalization, I think I'm trying to say this word, the politicalization of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency is what will help cases like this in the future. So I'm hoping we have one of these Bitcoin angel investors to come out, or investors come out here and save this guy or help put this case in front of the Supreme Court. But it looks like lower courts disagreed, ruling that Coinbase records are business documents, not Harper's private papers, and that the IRS acted lawfully. In his brief, the government argued that Supreme Court precedent supports the IRS position, citing past cases such as United States versus Miller. The government emphasized that individuals have no reasonable expectation of privacy in financial records held by third parties. Coinbase. The filing also pointed to Coinbase's own privacy policy, which warned users that information could be shared with law enforcement. However, I would like to say, since this article clearly doesn't say it, Coinbase's privacy policy changes like whenever they want it. So, as I'm speaking right now, if they were to change their privacy policy, which they've actually have done between the wee hours of the night and early hours of the morning, like as I get finished speaking, they could change their privacy policy, terms of use, and things of the sort. And essentially, they want us to feel like we have no recourse. There's nothing we can do, right? Coinbase says we're allowed to keep your Bitcoin and crypto. You've already signed. Look at our terms of service, terms of use. You can't class action sue, as they say in these. I mean, these are unfair, one-sided terms of use and privacy policies that would only help mega companies like Coinbase. It's not there for the end use. So their own privacy policy, I would actually bring up into court as well to say, hey, when was this changed? How does this get changed? Like, who gets to decide what we consider our own private information or what's publicly available to the government, especially after they tell you one thing to get your business and then actually do another thing to keep your business. So, to the extent petitioner made those arguments below, the Court of Appeals correctly rejected them as both foreclosed by this court's precedent and meritless. The government said the Supreme. I hate when they keep saying the government. I want to know what department. Any other time they say the department, right now they just keep saying what the government said. The Supreme Court has not yet decided whether it will hear the case. A denial will leave in place the First Circuit's ruling in favor of the IRS. However, the reason why this is so big is that if they actually were to rule in favor of the individual here, of Harper, then that could change everything we know about these IRS summons, subpoenas, how they handle data processing, how they handle crypto taxes, and so on and so forth. So this could strike a major blow to the entire regulatory regime looking at crypto in the United States if this goes to the Supreme Court and wins out. So I'm hoping that it does. Again, there's been a gross overreach from Coinbase and the government as a whole. Not to mention things like this that just came out. Coinbase suffered a major data breach. On May 15th, Coinbase disclosed a data breach in which attackers bribed customer support in India to access sensitive user information. So they confirmed that this breach impacted roughly 1% of its monthly transacting users. But who knows if they're telling the truth? Why? Because it sounds like this breach actually happened at the beginning of the year from some of the insiders, and the hackers essentially were just laying in wait per usual. I told you they hack systems. They won't do anything immediately, but it sounds like they could have hacked this system toward the beginning of the year, January, February time frame, stayed hiding in wait until it was a perfect time to harvest data and get some of the pertinent information that they wanted. And then once they got it, Coinbase didn't know about it until shortly after, which of course they done their own internal investigation, things and so forth. And then weeks to not months later, we find out, hey, just to let you know, our bad, your information's hacked. So Coinbase is now serving up a double whammy. Of course, I've been trying to get you off Coinbase since I think 2018, 2017, when I first started having big issues with them. Really started having issues with them in 2016, but made it really public around 2017, 2018. But this is Coinbase's playbook right here, right? They're getting all your information. They're using it, or they use it to go public and to build their business to billions. Then they allow you to get hacked and sold that same information. I won't say sold it, gave the information away to the government. So it's just like, how many different ways can they screw you? And they're still telling you to keep your capital, keep your Bitcoin in Coinbase, while they're at the same time trying to get the government to make private wallets illegal while they're making centralized exchange wallets like Coinbase perfectly legal, whatever. So these are some of the issues that Coinbase have already been doing. They're just a big, nasty company in this space as well. And they're not really serving a purpose other than literally just exchanging crypto, which is supposed to be a peer-to-peer mechanism anyway. So it's like when you look at what they're really doing, Nothing great, but they're just becoming too big to fail, right? They got their hands wrapped up into the regulatory side of the house. They're public. They got a lot of big money in it. But when you keep looking at the moves time and time again, it's like you're either getting hacked for their personal information or you're giving away to the government. I don't know why you would want to stay on this type of exchange. It's crazy. Let's see. Be careful in California, King. Crypto on exchanges can be taken if it's not been used in 3 years. Yep, I ran that story last week. Actually, that story came out last week where I went over it briefly that, yeah, it said in California, especially if you haven't touched that crypto in 3 years, they're saying we can just go and get it. Don't do it with a bank account, right? Which is absolutely crazy. You can leave your money in a bank account for years, but if you do it for Bitcoin and crypto, they're coming for it. I mean, that just goes to show you this is not about protecting anyone. This is about a money grab and ways to make more money. With that being said, let's go ahead and talk about Bitcoin conference again. It wasn't as huge to me as it sounds this year, but it still had a lot of enthusiasm around it. A lot of people still came. Like I said, looked like a lot of people are excited about it. The word of the day was freedom. Ross Ulbricht made his first significant public appearance to strategies. Michael Saylor addressing the crowd, and the focus of the Bitcoin conference was often on individual liberty. So again, if you've never been to one, it's a great place to go for people who've been in the space as well as first timers also. But when I do start hearing things like, "Oh, this is great for individual liberty and stuff," I was like, "Okay, it's kind of what I thought it was, right? It's a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of clapping hands in the big circle and saying some of the similar things, which is always good to see in this space, right? But thousands gathered in the convention center of the Venetian Hotel in Las Vegas, nice hotel, to hear industry leaders, lawmakers, and charismatic figures from around the world discuss the views on Bitcoin and to a lesser extent other cryptocurrencies. The biggest draw of the event was U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance, who traveled to Nevada to attend a reportedly $1 million a day fundraiser the day before the Bitcoin conference, but he stayed for the conference as well. He called on Bitcoiners to get more involved in politics, suggesting they could potentially influence the 2026 midterm elections in the U.S. The vice president was not the only speaker at the event to include freedom in his messaging. Strategy co-founder Michael Saylor mentioned the word no fewer than 3 times during his 21 Ways to Wealth speech, and Silk Road founder Ross Ulbricht, who was released from prison roughly 4 months ago after receiving a pardon from Trump, focused on the subject when addressing supporters. Quote, so long as we agree that we deserve freedom and that decentralization is how we secure it, then we can be united. We can have each other's backs, just like you have mine, said Ulbricht, referring to Bitcoiners whom he credited for helping with his release. Um, I'll say this. It's always like like I won't say a red flag, but it is definitely interesting to me when you get in a room of high powered people doing similar speeches, right? Everything this whole thing was a thing about freedom. So to me, my red flag is like well, realistically, maybe Ross Ulbricht, but the strategy, Michael Saylor, JD Vance, they're not writing their own speeches. Like they are not writing their own speeches. Someone else is writing that speech, giving it to them to look at the draft. They make a couple of changes, they get the speech back, they clean it up again, whatever. So my point is like I wonder how much these different teams communicate with each other, talk to each other, or was this maybe something from a bigger team down to the conference itself to tell to everyone that hey, we're really going to be keying in on freedom because again, it's really interesting. And that's the thing, especially if you are doing speeches off the top of your head. If the first two people went up and already talked about freedom, it's kind of like redundant for you to be a third person, be like, oh yeah, yeah, like they said, freedom. Like just keep talking about it. And it's like, yeah, they talked about it though. You talk about something different. So again, I think these speeches may have been made in some type of echo chamber, which could be a good thing because it shows that hey, this market not is not only maturing to the extent of having these type of events, but we're maturing in the extent of messaging, right? Everybody's coming to the event with the same type of messaging, pushing the same thing. It sounds like this one was about freedom, decentralization, and policy. Now, the freedom part is like that's kind of the feel good part to get the votes. But it's one of those things where it's like when we're talking about Coinbase giving away records to the federal government and getting hacked simultaneously, while you have Pelosi and Warren trying to say that hey, private wallets are illegal or only for criminals, it's like the freedom thing isn't real. That's like something you just scream and you throw your fist up and you spray paint some stuff. It's like no, no, no. We need actual policy and law. So I do think that was an attempt to kind of just like get everyone excited and enthused. Like I said, in kind of a big circle, cheering and clapping. But when the brass, when the rubber meets the road, when this brass tacks on the line, it's like, all right, what are we really talking about here? Are we just excited and screaming freedom, or you have a sitting vice president there. You have one of the biggest companies that strategy there as well. It's like, are we just talking about this? Or are we doing things behind the scenes to actually make sure this goes into legislation and changes the way we're doing crypto and Bitcoin as a whole, right? So that's kind of things I want to see happen. This article and even some of the people I talked to, again, a lot of the excitement is around the speakers and things of that sort, which is always cool. But I want to see if things actually get done. So it says here, emphasis on Bitcoin and crypto policy. As we get closer and closer to two key pieces of legislation, both market structure and stablecoins, I wanted to come out and make sure that people understand how transformative these pieces of legislation will be. Steele told Cointelegraph and why he spoke at the event. And that's Brian Steele, U.S. representative. Also, looks like Cynthia Loomis and Tom Emmer spoke on panels as well for legislation for a digital asset market structure and payment stablecoins. Yeah, I mean, again, Loomis cool, Brian Steele cool, Byron Donalds, Tom Emmer has been a lone proponent. My question is that those type of folks wouldn't really be about big, broad level things. It'll be about their contemporaries. It'll literally be about their contemporaries, where it's just like, yeah, how do you all just make up stuff on Wednesday mornings and Friday nights and just go with it, right? Like, that seems counterintuitive to the American population, American innovation. So those would be some of my thoughts, but it looks like right now, at least everyone is on the same page. And that seems to be getting more Bitcoiners into the political realm, whether they're a voter, a donor, or something. They just want you to be frontline as constituent voting. And again, that's what changes everything is when all of a sudden you have all these voters, all these donor dollars. Now it's like, maybe banks aren't the biggest kids in town. Maybe this crypto thing is here to stay. Let's see. Yes, Bitcoin conference. I remember that a couple years ago. I need to go to another one. I'll go to the one next year, more than likely. They should have Mel Gibson up in there talking in a kilt, making these speeches. I know it. Jump Out Girl says scripted messages now. David Bailey probably has a whole marketing PR team for the conference. JD Vance trying to get back early. That's what I'm saying. Somebody said it sounded like more like a stable coin conference. With some of those regulatory names there, that's definitely a stable coin conference, right? You have so much regulatory names for decentralization of Bitcoin. I don't see that being what it is. But regardless, the positive thing is another year to see Bitcoin mature, the Bitcoin conference mature, and it's bringing out everyone, right? It's bringing out the presidents, bringing out billionaires. It's brought out athletes in the past. It is bringing out everyone. So that's the cool thing to see. All right, back to California. California moves forward to accept crypto for state payments. That's right. The California State Assembly passed the bill that will allow state agencies to accept crypto for payment in a unanimous 68-0 vote, which will now head to the Senate. I won't lie. I was surprised it's passed like that. And to me, and I hate to say it like this because you shouldn't have to think like this about your own government, but I do, unfortunately. Now I'm looking for the play. 68-0. No one in California can agree on anything, but they all agreed that hey, these crypto payments for states, that's what we need. We need to move forward that. Just the fact that they all agreed makes me raise an eyebrow. It does not happen in California where everyone agrees. A and B, whenever everyone does agree in California, usually 3 to 5 years later, there's a federal investigation like there is right now into the homeless money. Like, where all the $1 billion of homeless money we gave y'all go, right? Like, whenever all of California agrees, there's usually a federal investigation that's going to follow it within 3 to 4 or 5 years because there was some BS happening in the background. But it looks like California has taken a step closer toward embracing crypto after a bill allowing state departments to accept digital currencies sailed through the state's lower house with a unanimous vote and is now headed for the Senate. Assembly Bill 1180 AB 1180, which passed the California State Assembly on June 2nd with a 68-0 vote in its third reading, will require the Department of Financial Protection and Innovation, DFPI, there we go, another acronym, to develop rules permitting state fees and transactions under the Digital Financial Assets Law to be payable in crypto. Wait. The DFAL, I've never even heard of that one. That was a new one. The Digital Financial Assets Law is new, and this is for the Department of Financial Protection and Innovation. DFPI for the DFAL is talking about getting more money. That's all that I mean, do we need to go into detail? All right, California trying to figure out how to get their hands on some more money. The DFPI is California's regulatory agency tasked with overseeing financial services and protecting, here we go, protecting consumers while promoting responsible innovation. Individuals and entities conducting crypto business activities in the state must obtain a license from the DFPI. There we go. So essentially, it looks like California's bit license. Just reading it like this, it seems like it's a California bit license you all are trying to figure out here. But again, if California is going 68-0 on something, you need to be raising an eyebrow. Yep. And if this all goes through, it would be effective on July 1st in 2026. According to the bill sponsored Democratic Assembly member Avelino Valencia, a pilot program will run until January 1st of 2031 will become fully operational. I'm sorry, folks. I can't help but laugh right now. They are about to play with Californians' money. You're going to run a test program for 5 years? People, if you think the politicians in government right now care about the outcome of a test pilot program in California, the outcome that won't happen until 5 years where some of them are out of office and don't and aren't due to benefit, you are absolutely insane. This is definitely a play right here. Listen, this is a play. How do I know? Because I'll repeat it. There's no way any politician in California right now is saying, hey, yeah, we're going to do this for the good of the state in 5 years, 6 years, really, right? In 6 years, 2026 to 2031. In 6 years, this would be great for the state of California. We would have protected consumers, added new tax to fund. Like, are you out of your mind? We're not doing right by any other money in California. All the wildfire money disappears, homeless money disappears, pots of money go disappearing left and right in this state. But you mean to tell me they had a 68-0 unanimous vote, and they're going to do a testing phase for 5 years after this year? For what is not going to what y'all listen, they're about to set up a new fund for the next 5 years, and they're about to fleece that fund in the next year and a half and use it for their re-elections for the people who are coming back, and for the people who aren't, they're using it on their yachts. All right. As simple as that. That money is about to be locked, stocked, and gone. All right. All they're trying to do is get another budget going for a new task force, for a new test, a 5-year test at that. Could you imagine that, folks? Testing a payment structure that's already working for the next 5 or 6 years. What will be the price of Bitcoin in 2031 when they decide this test all of a sudden works and they're here to protect consumers? Oh, we're here to protect you all. Bitcoin is officially $350,000, and now we can start this program. I know we tested it for the last 5 years, but now we can start. That is in shout out to California for being some real gangsters. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Because there's gonna be people in California regions. Oh, this is a good idea. We're gonna do a little test, No, no, it's nothing to test. The test is over. There's nothing left to test. We're done testing. The testing phases are over. It works for payments. It works for taxes. It works for everything. The only reason you will want a testing environment for this space is if you want to figure out a way to fleece money. And again, California going 68-0 says everything. Folks, it's California. Nothing else is being agreed upon or getting done. But this is the one, right? The crypto. Oh, yeah, we can get behind that one. I don't believe you. You need more people. That's right. Start that Cali token now. You know it's coming. Let's see. You just lost basically you just lost your money and it's gone. Do I still have that one here? I think there we go.
And it's gone.
It's gonna be just like that as soon as it's gonna be it is going to be what day they started? July 1st, 2026. On July 2nd, 2026, they're gonna be somebody from the California government to have a press conference. They're gonna say,
and it's gone.
That quick. Well, what do you mean? They're gonna say, well,
and it's gone.
that money is gone, folks. Shout out to California for doing what it does best, from bootlegging to knocking over crypto, folks. You just don't stop, can you? All right, Robinhood completes $200 million acquisition of crypto exchange Bitstamp. So, okay, a couple things. This was kind of the Circle buys Poloniex move to me, right? If you haven't heard of Bitstamp, Robinhood has acquired the world's longest running crypto exchange, Bitstamp, for $200 million, expanding its institutional crypto offerings to Europe, the UK, and Asia. I'll say this. I'm not about to go through this article. The headline is an article. I'm sure if I were to go through it, let me just skim through it in front of you. If I had to guess, it's going to mention transaction volume, right? It's going to say why this is worth it, right? It's going to have to mention something about transaction value. Okay, talking about time in 14 years, trusted service, 5,000 institutional clients, 50,000 retail customers, right? I expect to see numbers. Let's see. Bitstamp reported 95 million in revenue for the last 12 months, which is actually way more than what I thought. But it's not that much, folks, right? Let's see, $95 million revenue the last year. So I'm not sure how much of profit that will actually be. Robinhood expects to record $65 million of Bitstamp related costs over the remaining 7 months of 2025. So they're getting taxed there. They also agreed to acquire Canadian crypto platform WonderFi for approximately $179 million on May 13th as part of a move to strengthen its presence in the Canadian market. So here's my deal. Very similar to what Circle did in two things. When Circle bought that Poloniex bag, it was a bag, it wasn't worth anything, and they soon lost money on it. I expect the same with it here. Like nobody's really using Bitstamp, okay? 100 million is nothing. And to be frank with you, a lot of these client numbers they're mentioning 50,000 here, 5,000 here. I pretty much guarantee that's like lifetime clients publicly. Now, maybe the numbers they created and came up with on the back end did not reflect that, right? If I was Robinhood, I'd be like, hell no, don't put no user on there that hasn't logged on in the last 6 months. I don't want to see it on the report, right? I only want users from last 6 months. Now, I'm sure internally they did that to come up with their numbers, but externally for the press release and everything, you throw the biggest numbers out there. So this 50,000 these accounts, 5,000 these accounts, again, it would not surprise me if that is from their inception. So you probably have accounts on there like mine, right? An American who has who may have an account on Bitstamp that hasn't been used since 2016 or 2017, right? But that account still is there. Maybe there's even some dust in that account, right? So where it's like, well, technically this is an account holder and they have $3 of Bitcoin in it. Let's count them, right? But in reality, it's like, yeah, but they haven't logged on since 2016 because they don't care about the $3 left of Bitcoin dust, right? Or crypto or Bitcoin dust, or whatever. So that's one of the things where, like, when you talk about some of these numbers and how they formulate these numbers, they're not being on the up and honest. And for Robinhood's sake, I hope they know how to differentiate that, because if not, they are going to take a big L, I think, in the first, but I was honestly the next 3 quarters. It may not be felt immediately, but especially after this quarter, the fourth quarter and first quarter of next year, they will feel the crunch from this bad buy. B, the only thing I can see that actually makes this make sense is if they weren't buying it for the capabilities, right? They're like, we're not buying this for the exchange. We're not buying this. We're not buying this to use it at all. We're buying this for the context, right? Maybe the Robinhood is saying we're literally doing this to see which high value customers are on these platforms, Bitstamp and WonderFi, and then we're going to do a marketing play to them to try to get at least 3% onto Robinhood's platform. And if we can do that, this buy will be worth it, right? They're saying they made 100 million. Well, they acquired them for $200 million. All right, so realistically, if you get what 2 or 3 clients off of Bitstamp that's worth 20, 30, 40 million a piece. Like I said, let's say you get 3 clients worth 30 million a piece. That's 90 million right there off 3 clients that of possible upside if you do right by those accounts. Not to mention how many more smaller ones, right? So just all the strength of the clients, it could be worth it, I guess, if you go after the contacts on there who did what transactions. And that's if you actually have the KYC, because when they first came out, as they said, they are one of the longest running ones. They have KYC now, but there are probably still a lot of people on that platform that never KYC to begin with or use false information. So it's one of those things where, can you track down the users? If you can, will they continue to invest on platforms like Robinhood? Will they keep doing it on Bitstamp? But again, if you were to take that angle, it could almost be worth it, because again, you're looking at the information now. And last but not least, you never know, the US government might actually buy it, right? What if you can come to the government and be like, hey, we got some American customers for you. We can sell this package to you for a quick 50 mil. The US government might scoop that up depending on who is in that package, right? With political opponents. But by and large, I do think they bought the bag here. I don't see any use when it comes to the exchange. I don't know much about WonderFi, but Bitstamp for sure. I'm just not seeing like we're gonna like it's over with. Like, here's the thing in crypto is old exchanges are like old rappers or something. Like people just don't like them. It's like, all right, you had your hit. You remember we were bobbing our head, we were doing a stanky leg, or whatever, the couple years, but it's over with. Right now, it's time for the new dance, the next artist. So exchanges are really the same. I have yet, and you all correct me if I'm wrong, I have yet to see an exchange lose popularity and then come back to be popular. I have yet to see it. Now, usually when exchanges lose popularity, it's done, it's over with. So I don't see Bitstamp being any different. I see them the same as Poloniex. I think Poloniex was bought for $300 million, so around the same ballpark price. As soon as it was bought, everybody was like, "What? Like, man, I know the girl who do it, man. We could get that to you for $50, bro." But seriously, it's like, it's not worth anything. So I'm looking at the Bitstamp the same. To me, it's not worth $200 million, even with this contact sheet. High end. Yeah, you do got to work exchange. If you say you got all licenses in place, they cost a lot. I mean, 75 mil would have been fair to be fair. Like $75 million would have been fair for Bitstamp. I would have 65 to 80 million dollars. I would have talked them all the way down. I would have slashed those prices. 200 mil for a dead exchange that's doing 100 in revenue. How much are you actually profiting? Like, who knows? For all the headaches, just isn't worth it. Not to mention, Robinhood better make sure they don't have beef in any other country, because if they do, I can see another country being like, hey, this is our end to go after Robinhood now. We're going to sue them because Bitstamp has been operating illegally here since yesterday, when they didn't file out this new financial notice since they have a new company owner. Like, it could be something as simple as that. But to me, it wasn't worth the money or the headache. But we'll see what Robinhood does with it. Look at that price. I think they're on the stock market, right? Look at that price and see what they're going to be looking like here in the next 2 or 3 quarters. I am pretty much guaranteeing they're going to be taking a haircut, because there isn't money to be made with Bitstamp at the moment. I don't know what they're going to do with it, but there is not money to be made with it. JP Morgan's Jamie Dimon says U.S. should stockpile missiles, not Bitcoin. Again, he is trying to manipulate the price. I call this treason. And I also say, at what point do we hold him accountable? The CEO argued that the country needs to focus on essential resources like ammunition and rare earths. That's right. He said, y'all need to stay in school and worry about protecting us and building this country. I'll worry about all the money. I'll worry about all the. Jamie Dimon said, I'll be the one who worry about the Bitcoin, the crypto, and the money. Y'all need to worry about going to work every day. Shout out to Jamie Dimon for being a banker through and through. If that is a dinosaur like I've ever seen one. And again, at this point, it should be market manipulation. How does this guy get away with talking negative about crypto at the same time benefiting from it? That is literally the dino of the day once again. It's so long since I had that loud roar. That's Jamie Dimon. Every time Bitcoin price goes up 10%, he has to give out that loud roar. Like, what is going on? What to know? JP Morgan CEO Jamie Dimon believes the U.S. should prioritize defense logistics over stockpiling Bitcoin. Wow. Even though he's stockpiling Bitcoin, Dimon warned that the U.S. is only equipped with missiles for 7 days in a potential war with the South China Sea. And despite Dimon criticism of Bitcoin, JP Morgan will soon allow clients to buy Bitcoin. Here's the biggest thing to me of this article, the biggest indictment, which, like, these people are lucky. That's why I said, in many ways, I would be worse than Trump. I'm telling you now, this would be treason. This is treason. For one, why is a banker talking about the military guy in the United States? For one, like, that's my first thing. Were you in the military, Jamie Dimon? Did I miss that? Was Jamie? Somebody let me know. Is Jamie Dimon in the military? Because now you're talking about gang business, straight up. Why are you talking about what capabilities and equipment the U.S. military has to the world, Jamie Dimon? I have no idea. Why? Were you a military member? Are you in weapons manufacturing? Is it something I am missing outside of him being an individual citizen and a banker? You shouldn't be talking about what the military got and what it's doing and what war. Like, he's not a general. You're a private citizen. This is what I'm talking about, the gumption of these people. He really feels comfortable saying, yeah, well, y'all, the United States as a whole, all you 331 million Americans, you all shouldn't be buying crypto. You all should be focused on fighting our banker wars. Wow. Like, people, this treason, this is who we have as our leaders right now. Let me say this one more time. A private citizen who's a peer to everyone here, right? I think his daughter went to Yale one year or whatever. Yeah, she was at the frat party. We know you, Jamie. All right. Like, come on. So a private citizen who has no more, nothing else than the next person, but because he's a banker with a lot of money, can tell the entire country what we should be doing, how we should be stockpiling. And by the way, at the same time, simultaneously letting the world know about what our capabilities are and what we can or can't do. That is treason. Why are you talking about what we can or can't do as a country? For one. For two, the United States, folks, don't let people like this scare you. Our military, we are always ready. We're always ready, okay? We ain't lost nothing yet. The only time you hear about this whole Afghanistan, the Vietnam thing, the U.S. wasn't killing, just blankly killing. We were picking and choosing, which is why the losses seem to be losing, but we really didn't lose. We lost when you can't pull out. We've always been able to successfully pull out anywhere we go. We're not losing, folks. There's nothing to be worried about. Every unit I've served at, there has always been like readiness always. There is no question of readiness in the United States military. We're ready for any fight at any time, anywhere. So I rebuke these comments from you, Jamie Dimon, first and foremost. And secondly, again, if I actually was a person in the military right now, a general, high-ranking officer, admiral, or, for me, captain, I would take this so personal. Again, why is a private citizen screaming out to the world what our capabilities are or aren't? He is a private citizen, not anyone in the military. And I hope Jamie Dimon gets that Elon Musk treatment soon, because it's high time for these billionaires who think they own or represent all of us to understand they are nothing more than a mere cog in the entire country, as well as the next person also. Okay, this is democracy. This isn't a Jamie Dimon and Elon Musk dictatorship to tell us lowly Americans what we should be doing with everything. And again, this is a person outside the military, outside the American government, saying what our government and our military needs to be doing to win wars. Can you believe this? How would you know unless you've been doing what dirty bankers been doing, and that's starting wars for the last how many years, Jamie Dimon? That is literally the only reason you should be knowing about anything that has to do with military, is that the bankers been doing what bankers do. JP Morgan CEO Jamie Dimon says the U.S. should prepare for war, not a Bitcoin-driven future. However, of course, he and his team is simultaneously getting ready for a Bitcoin-driven future. It is absolutely crazy. Oh man, it's crazy, 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 crazy. But that's what makes America America, folks, right? Private citizens get to wake up in the morning and say, "This is what I think our government, our military should be doing." And some people will take it in stride, and some people will actually listen to it. There we go. Hasgaf says we're war ready. Let them know. Listen, all this BS, they teach you that as an officer early. We are always ready. There is never a day we're not ready. Okay. Oh, we wake up when we go outside, we ready. If not, we ain't come outside. It's pretty clear. It's pretty easy. It's pretty easy equation. 2 + 2 is 4. He got the money talk. You already know that. DOD and contracts funded. He has the power. You already know it. And that is why I'm saying these type of people should be brought up on treason, because you can't in one day say, hey, this is what the U.S. Can do and can't do. We lose a war right now, but I love America. It's like, it don't sound like you love America to me. It doesn't sound like that to me, Jamie. Okay. It doesn't sound like it to me. All right, last but not least, BlackRock's Bitcoin ETF futures debut in Moscow as fund hits top 25. Since the IBET ETF futures are only available to accredited investors, the latest crypto developments in Russia left many retail players unimpressed. So the headline is the story itself. Talking about treason, right? It's crazy. I mean, this is I can't do any trading with Russia or nothing, but BlackRock can make a whole ETF future thing with them. It's absolutely amazing. But regardless, I won't go on that rant. This is what I will say about it. It opens up another section of the market to bring more, hopefully, capital into Bitcoin if they're keeping that one-to-one Bitcoin ETF backed by a Bitcoin. If they're keeping that one-to-one, it's definitely gonna open the market. As we saw in the US, it was initially only open to accredited investors as well. That's just kind of the test phase of it, the test structure of it before it's open to the retail market. I do think it will open to the retail market in Russia also, but I think it remains to be seen how President Vladimir Putin and his regulators and his agencies will address and handle the influx of capital that's going to be coming in, right? Credit investors are going to be one thing, but once they open it up to everyone, or the mom and pop, that's going to be a lot of money going through Russia. Again, it will be interesting to see how BlackRock can operate, how much capital they can keep, how the market reacts to that, what the U.S. government feels about it. I mean, a lot can come out of this. Let's say their Bitcoin ETFs are bigger than America's, right? You know which way BlackRock's going to go. BlackRock, listen, they don't got a flag. They're voting off the green. They're voting off the money, right? So I could see that being issues on a geopolitical spectrum, and then that could actually affect the price of Bitcoin too. If they were to get this thing rolling, let's say it counts for 5% of all Bitcoin by the year end or whatever, and then they shut it down, or the U.S. has another beef with Russia, and we say, well, BlackRock's not allowed to manage this portfolio anymore. That can be like 5% wiped off the board almost instantaneously. And don't you tell me it can't happen when we're waking up this morning to tweets from Elon and Trump, or really Elon going at Trump in the most egregious matter, talking about those Epstein files, right? If that were to come out, that could definitely shake the market. If anything about that were to come out and be real, that could and would shake the market. That would shake ETFs. That would shake everything. We wouldn't know which way is up. It'll be a lot of volatility. So I think that same volatility can be realized here with a BlackRock Russian ETF, right? Hopefully it doesn't. But on the flip side, in a good way, if everything does go well and there isn't a lot of political and regulatory drama, and they open this up to the retail side, this could be huge, folks, because I'm sure this is just their second or main target location. It won't be long before they're saying, hey, we're going to try to do the same thing in China. We're going to do the same thing in India. And to open up that many people to ETF, not only will BlackRock become like what, $3 trillion now, whatever, like bump that number up, double that, six, whatever it is, whatever their number is, double that number to what their assets under management will be. But they can really go far and wide with this if they get more and more people under their iBit or iTrust, whatever ETF. So that's BlackRock. They're doing BlackRock things, world domination, all that good stuff. But as I said, folks, the market is alive and well. It was a slow, quiet week after the conference. I think actually we'll see some more quietness going into next week because this tweet thing, right? Everybody, everybody's waiting to see how deep does it go. Is this just two old pals, Trump and Elon, trying to throw some distractions our way and they're best friends behind the scenes? I know people they do that, right? Who knows? But one thing's for sure and two things for certain. If we come out on Monday and there's a lot of drama between them two still going on, or any other what those inflammatory tweets or anything like that come out over the weekend, we could see the markets with a little dip. I think we're in great shape as far as retracing. Now, not long term, of course, right? We're still going to 120, 130, whatever, but we're almost on our way there. We're just on our way to 115. All of this between the ETF rotation happening. If you haven't noticed, some pulled out last week, some are pulling out this week. Between the tweets and things of the sort, we could, and hopefully we do, go back to a sub 100,000. I think it'll be great to see Bitcoin at 98 and hopefully takes another little slash. And after that, we often have seen after the conference, it does a small dip before it gets to have an aggressive pump throughout the rest of the summer. So that remains to be seen. I know usually July 4th, Independence Day, starts to pump all the way through August 10th, August 15th. So that's about 4 to 6 weeks there. You'll see a pump in the space and the price as well. So we have about 2 to 3 weeks to kind of go sideways until then. We'll see what happens. But bottom line is, still great in the world of crypto, folks. We're alive and well. Nothing's wrong. All the little back end games are being played like those in California and trying to get testing, Bitcoin transaction testing going for the next 5 years. But as far as the market is looking good. It looks like more people are just trying to figure out a way to eat in the market or to open up streams of revenue, which is always a good thing. It shows that it's maturing. But as far as it being here, it's here, folks. If anything, we're clawing and fighting for either a 98,000 Bitcoin or a 106, 107,001 going to Monday. I see more of a 98, 99, 100K happening. I think we'll get weak over the weekend with the markets, and that will be reflected on Monday, but we shall see. Hey, if I wake up Monday morning and some good news stories, I'm hopping on, folks. I tell you, I'm up every day looking at the stories. But if it continues to be this whole the same thing, but reworded, which is essentially all the Cointelegraph articles right now, we're going to skip a couple of days. So we'll see. But I will be back next week. Smash that like and share. And until then, cheers. Oh, yeah. Shout out. Thank you. Just informed me. Yeah, shout out to Universal. Yeah, I'm squatted up with Universal. Universal and took care of me this past year. Shout out to Universal. It's a good team over there. Good family team, actually, behind the scenes. Good team. No. But